We won't keep you in the sun too long, but we do have beautiful weather. And if you notice how we've kind of got the chairs up here arranged in the shadows, where you know, we get somewhat of a perk for being the speakers. Anyway, in 1959, a group of citizens had a vision and a dream and a loud lawnmower. They're taking care of our great parks, and that's why we're very proud of the city of Lincoln, its awesome park system, and all the great attention to detail they do. So we appreciate Lynn and his entire team. Anyway, in 1959, a group of citizens had a vision and a dream to provide the community of Lincoln with a rich, immersive learning experience. That vision imagined children of all ages having hands-on discoveries with animals from around the world. A place where children could learn firsthand. A place filled with horticultural beauty and also a sylvan retreat. 6 years later, in 1965, a dream and a vision became a reality. The 4-acre Lincoln Children's Zoo opened where children could feed goats, get close to beautiful peacocks, feed a paper-eating lion, and ride a miniature train, all surrounded by botanical beauty. 50 years later, they're still doing that. And 51 years later, that little children's zoo has grown to approximately 9 acres. Over 6 million children of all ages have enjoyed firsthand interactions with animals from around the world. Where else but the Lincoln Children's Zoo can a child feed a camel, ride a pony, have beautiful butterflies light on them, help feed a penguin, experience a hedgehog hands-on, and come nose to nose with a snow leopard? Your Lincoln Children's Zoo is truly a unique place for families and children to immerse themselves into a wondrous world of wildlife. And today, the next generation of visionaries and dreamers wish to make this wondrous place into take this wondrous place into the next 50 years of serving children and families in an even more marvelous manner. Today, we have what we hope will be the first of several announcements about an exciting new project, the expansion of the Lincoln Children's Zoo. We anticipate that this expansion will increase the size of the zoo by about 40%, from the current 9 acres to about 14 acres. Even with the expansion, we remain committed to our identity as a small, intimate zoo, providing opportunity for our visitors to interact with plants and animals and to learn firsthand. New exhibit space is envisioned to extend west from the location of the current zoo, allowing us to acquire several new species, which I really can't tell you much about today, but I hope to tell you about real soon, so stay tuned. The zoo also proposes to expand into and renovate the historic Ager Zoo building, which, as some of you may remember, which was the original use of this building. The building was constructed as a WPA project, Works Projects Administration for you youngsters, okay, during the Great Depression and housed birds and animals for many, many years. In the mid-1990s, the building was converted into an indoor playground and serving preschool children and their families. We envision combining indoor animal exhibits with play and activities, areas integrating both prior uses for the use of this building in a new and creative way. Utilizing Ager will allow the zoo to offer year-round programming for the first time in its 51-year history. We are excited about the possibility of a permanent home for Lincoln Public Schools science-focused program, or better known as Zoo School. For the last 18 years, the Zoo School has operated out of portables within the zoo. The new facility provides space for our community of high school students and faculty who focus learning around research and science. With the expansion, we will be studying various options for such items as expanded parking, location of the new entrance, and locations of animal habitats, and more hands-on learning locations. Over the summer, we will be working closely with the city and a number of local advisory boards to ensure that we find the perfect locations for these. We want our expansion to fit comfortably within our other valued community facilities on the Antelope Park Triangle, the Heyman Rose Garden, Rotary Strolling Garden, and the Cascade Fountain. Will all remain convenient, and convenient parking is being planned for visitors to these areas as well. The Parks and Recreation Administration Office will also remain. Yes, today is not about the zoo, but about our growing and prospering community and how the City of Lincoln, Lincoln Public Schools, and the Lincoln Children's Zoo will continue its successful collaborative partnership to better serve our great city of Lincoln. 51 years later, millions of family memories later, and decades of community and business support later, it is with my distinct pleasure that I introduce to you Lincoln's current mayor, Chris Beitler, who, like our founder, is a visionary for the future of our growing community. Mayor Beitler, please.
Thank you. Well, good morning to all of you, and things heating up out there? Again, as John indicated, we'll try to keep this very short, but I'm delighted to be here today. I'm always delighted to come over to the Antelope Valley Triangle here. It's such an incredibly beautifully landscaped project, and the partnership of activities over here always amazes me in such a positive way, and the city is indeed dedicated to working very closely with the zoo and with the citizens of Lincoln to see that everything continues to evolve in a way that will be beneficial and beautiful for the community. So thank you, John, for inviting us here this morning to be a part of this really a kind of announcement of a series of celebrations that will be coming forth over the next year and beyond. The City of Lincoln and the Lincoln's Children's Zoo has a very long history as a partnership. It goes back over 50 years. In fact, if you go back as far as the 1930s, you would find a city-operated zoo right here in Antelope Park. It was in 1965 then that a private group known as the Lincoln Children's Zoo partnered with the city to operate and to manage the zoo, and that partnership has actually been spelled out in the Lincoln Municipal Code, and we're going to be looking at that in the near future as part of this overall review of the city-zoo relationship. But it's been a partnership that has been fabulous for the community and done a great deal of good for the community over a long period of time. The Lincoln's Children's Zoo, as you know, reached a major milestone last year when the entire community helped celebrate the 50th anniversary birthday of the zoo. And it's certainly worth mentioning today that John himself has been at the helm of the operation for at least 30 years now, I believe. So congratulations to you, John, on both of those milestones. Over the years, the Lincoln's Children's Zoo has expanded its exhibits, its programming, and the variety of educational opportunities that have been available here. It's truly grown into a community treasure that greatly enhances the quality of life for the entire community. It's exactly the kind of amenity that makes a difference to young people who are looking for quality of life when they establish their family and when they begin to decide to where they will have their careers and where they will raise their families. The zoo is an iconic asset not only for Lincoln but also for children and families across the state. The latest studies have indicated that over 200,000 people a year visit the Children's Zoo here in Lincoln. I find that almost incredible. According to the zoo's latest studies, it provides significant economic benefits to our community, attracting something like $8.7 million of new spending to Lancaster County every year. The zoo accomplishes that without any tax dollars to support its general operations. The city always steps in to help at capital expenditure time on big changes, but you know, by and large, this great partnership has provided for the private operation of the zoo over all of these decades. I understand that that's a pretty rare situation in the zoo business, so I would most certainly commend John and the staff and all of the boards over the years that have been associated with this achievement for what's being accomplished here in Lincoln through one more public-private partnership that relies heavily on the private side to afford the community this particular amenity. As we all know, though, the zoo goes beyond the dollars and cents benefit to the community. This facility provides important opportunities for children to learn, obviously, and for adults to connect to the natural world. Guests have been able to have close-up encounters with a variety of zoo animals. Children are encouraged to get to know animals through hands-on experiences. The zoo also takes part in important science education, more so in recent years, and species survival plans to save animals for future generations. The recent work with Joel Sartore on the Animal Ark project has just been a fabulous experience for the country, actually, to see that kind of portrait of a problem put out for us to deal with in such a beautiful and nostalgic way. And to think that our zoo here in Lincoln was a very important first part of that project. Most of you know Joel Sartore, the National Geographic photographer, lives here in Lincoln and has been a good partner with the zoo in a number of ways, I think. The space also here is also home, as I think most of you know, to the LPS Science Focus High School, better known as the Zoo School. And this is yet one more example within the larger public-private partnership of another public-private partnership that helps make our community stronger. So I'm sure all of you can add to the list of what the zoo does and how it makes for such an important enhancement of the parks and recreation system in the city. But for all of the reasons that have been talked about today, the city is very pleased to stand with the Lincoln Children's Zoo in announcing the continuation and enhancement of this ongoing partnership. And together we will work to facilitate the zoo's expansion and to support this community treasure that we have all grown to know and to love. The city and the zoo share an interest in ensuring that the zoo's growth is both sustainable and respective of the surrounding neighborhoods. With that in mind, the project will, as indicated earlier, preserve the trails, preserve the beautiful public gardens, preserve the fountains, preserve the green space along 27th Street, and continue to see the project as a whole involving landscapes and amenities of different varieties, appealing to many different kinds of folks. So we look forward to continuing discussions. I'm confident that together we will find the perfect way to move forward on this to a successful another 50 years of zoo operations. The various committees and organizations that are typically in the Lincoln way consulted with regard to these kinds of activities will most certainly be consulted to the fullest extent. And once all of the input is in, and I'm confident that we will be moving forward in a way that will make this community a much better place a year or two from now than even it is today. So Thank you, Nick, and all your people, and John, and on behalf of the entire community, I want to thank you for your continuing stewardship of the Lincoln Children's Zoo. Have a good day.
Thank you so very, very much, Mayor Beitler, for those strong words of community, collaboration, and public-private partnership. At this time, what I would like to introduce yet another community partner and collaborator, that is Lincoln Public Schools. And representing Lincoln Public Schools today is School Board Member Mr. Lanny Boswell.
Thank you, John. Mayor Beitler. It's an honor to be here today. On behalf of Lincoln Public Schools and the Lincoln Board of Education, we applaud the Lincoln Children's Zoo for the wonderfully enriching experiences they provide for our community, and especially for the children of our community. Generations of children and families have enjoyed this special place for more than half a century, having breakfast with the penguins, hopping aboard the zoo train, feeding the goats and camels, experiencing hands-on learning at the Critter Encounter. Lincoln Public Schools and the Lincoln Children's Zoo are two organizations that represent a perfect mesh of mission, both centered on education and creating a better future for Lincoln's children. Indeed, the Lincoln Children's Zoo is all about education, with zoo classes, zoo camps, zoo crew, zoo apprenticeships, zoo adventures, a wide variety of engaging experiences and activities focused on teaching children about the science and wonders of plants and animals. We want to take this moment to thank the zoo for the valuable and meaningful collaboration and partnership with our school district that goes back decades. Our elementary students routinely visit the zoo each year as one of their favorite field trips. Many of our teachers spend part of their summers teaching children's zoo classes. And back in 1997, the Lincoln Children's Zoo became the setting for the very first LPS high school focus program, the Science Focus Program, much better known and loved as the Zoo School. Over the years, this program has become incredibly popular, a way of doing high school differently, a way of developing a high school experience that goes beyond the four walls of the classroom and the boundaries of the school campus. My daughter Mary is a graduate of the Zoo School and was a member of Zoo Crew. The Children's Zoo has brought countless hours of learning and joy to my family and so many other families in Lincoln. We believe in the Children's Zoo and Zoo School and have dedicated resources and investment into the program since it was founded. We are currently in the process of reviewing potential construction projects for bond issue funding, and our staff has recommended Zoo School facilities as a priority project. We look forward to that conversation and are grateful to have resources available to consider this valuable endeavor. Today, we applaud the Lincoln Children's Zoo for the wisdom of looking ahead to the growing needs of our community, in fact, growing with our community, and we support them in their exploration of expansion and opportunity. We know the Lincoln Children's Zoo and Lincoln Public Schools will continue working together as we head into the future, ensuring that our children have the opportunity to experience the wonders of nature. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Lanny, for those awesome words of community collaboration, partnership, and education. Again, I want to say very sincere appreciation and thank you to Mayor Beitler and to Lanny Boswell. Truly, today's announcement is not about the zoo, but it's about our community. It's about a partnership which builds Lincoln even stronger. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being here today. Thank you very much for having this great background, Mr. Timmy. We love our big ZOO, the most photographed place in the zoo probably right now, and we'd answer any questions at this time. Thank you.
John, what about the cost of the project and how will it be funded?
The cost of the project, that's a good question, Jane. We're trying to figure all those details out right now because it's going to have obviously different elements to it, everything from parking, animal habitats, classroom space, and things like that. So as to what the final cost is, we got to know what our footprint is, where the expansion is, and what those costs will be. So stay tuned. We're going to start working on those details.
So this is really very much the initial part of it then, is just trying to get things going?
We're getting things going. We're meeting with different city agencies and Lincoln Public Schools to figure out those details as to what is possible. I mean, for instance, we know there's a beautiful water reservoir just to the south of us. The water reservoir we can only do so many things with. So we're seeing what is possible now regarding the zoo's physical expansion and things such as that. So there are many details to work out. Just like Mayor Beitler indicated, we're working a lot with the different city agencies and advisory groups to move it forward as quickly as we can to figure out those details.
Do you have a time frame in mind, John, of when you want to get this thing going?
We know that we've done a lot of studies around the community. We've talked to some different folks about potential other collaborations regarding funding and things like that. Just as soon as we work out those details, we're going to announce them to the city as to what's going to happen, where and how. Okay, and we will be searching serious. It will be a capital campaign for the zoo. We will be looking for private funds. We will be doing a partnership, I'm certain. Just like we've made everything else successful here at the zoo, it's always been a partnership with the city, with the county, with Lincoln Public Schools. It's all about community building, and we'll build it together. We'll build all those resources together to benefit our community.
So is it more of a wish list right now that or is this more?
We have wishes. That's exactly right. We have some wishes. I can tell you we won't be bringing any orcas or elephants or probably gorillas here, okay? Anything like that. I can tell you we will be, if we build our collaboration the right way, we'll have more educational opportunities, more hands-on opportunities. When the zoo opened up 51 years ago to its 4 acres, I don't think anyone anticipated 50 years later would be here and the need or how Lincoln itself has grown. Our demand in our community for programming, for experiences, for education have all grown, and we've always partnered together to make certain that we do it right. So a lot of details yet. We got a busy year ahead of us to work out a lot of details. Okay? Ladies and gentlemen, the zoo is open. It's a great day, and I'll see you at the zoo. Thank you.